Think back about 8 or 9 years ago, what you were doing in the summer of 2011. The reason I asked that is I recall what I was doing. I was being like a waffler. I was waffling back and forth between whether I should go or I shouldn't go. Should I stay? Should I invest some money in my business and marketing and grow it that way? Or, man, it's an opportunity to hang out with a mentor of mine who's been studying for 20 years or so. Never met him, but it's had such a huge impact on my life. And it was going to be in Seattle. It was going to be in the fall, September timeframe of actually 2011. And when I looked at the economics, the logical side of whether I should go or not, it was a lot of money to go and just for a weekend to Seattle, just to listen to my mentor and hang out with about 300 or 400 people from around the world. But regardless, it still was a lot of money. And I was waffling back and forth, standing up in my office, which is in the top of the garage. It's in the bonus room. And it's an open home concept. And the reason why that's important is my significant other at the time, I learned some things. She actually did listen to me. And why I say that was when I was going back and forth and talking out loud and justifying not going, justifying going, pros and cons, not on paper, but in my head. I was just in a tizzy of whether I should go or whether I should stay. I was really struggling to make a decision and make a choice. And this voice, lovely voice from down in the great room says, Phil, it sounds like you're getting stuck in your how. Well, what's the relevance of that? Well, the relevance of that is the mentor I was contemplating going to see was really a strong advocate and a person who introduced to me a concept is if you know what you want and why you want it and go after what you really, really want and stifle the how, then more life can show up for you. And as soon as I had heard that from my partner at the time, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm absolutely stuck in the how, which is often what many of us do. We set a goal and then somebody says, well, how the heck are you going to do that? Or you even say that to yourself, how the hell am I going to do that? I've never done that before. And you come up with all the reasons why you can't do it instead of all the reasons why you possibly could do it. So the long and short of my story here is I decided to go. I decided to squash the how. Don't worry about that. I did want to meet him. I did want to hang out with the people that were there. I did want to revitalize my understanding, get a deeper dive into his teachings, and hey, get to go to Seattle in September and stay at a really nice hotel. Wasn't too shabby. Matter of fact, one of the other perks I got was able to go to the fish market in Seattle, which is famous for where they throw the fish around it. I think it's called Pike's Fish Market. And so I got to experience that. Not only did I get to experience that, I got to go to Lou Tice's house, which is my mentor and where I went in Seattle. And one of the stories he talks about in his teachings to all of us over the years was him and his wife grew up as a married couple. They met really early on in life. And one of the things he was telling us was his wife had decided that they could afford this house that they were going to move into, and he wasn't really worried about the price of the house. But he talked about this story, went up the lane, and as he went up the lane to where this house was, he turned and looked at it, and he says, oh my God. He said, look at all that grass. The reason he said that was he didn't like landscaping, he didn't like cutting grass. So his wife said to him, well, either change your mind about cutting the grass or get a gardener. And he said, well, I can't get a gardener. If I get a gardener, what are people going to say to me? I'm a high school football coach. And what would people say? And she says, well, I don't care. You just need to change what you're thinking there. Either hire a gardener or learn to cut the grass. He says, I hired a gardener. Anyway, what's the significance of that story is I walked down that lane and I looked at the property. It's a home on Lake Washington. And I'm pretty stoked about that. I was looking at pictures of that trip just a few days ago, and it reminded me about the people that I'd met there from all over the world and the things that they'd actually overcome and made happen. There was a young lady there that escaped communism out of Bulgaria, landed in the east side of the U.S., and basically a few bucks in her purse and the clothes on her back, and that was it. Here she was at this place where I was at, hanging out with all of these highly efficacious people, and people were changing lives, their own lives and others. The significance of the Bulgaria trip was Lou Tice, which is the guy I went to see, and he's my mentor and mentored many, many people around the globe. He asked her if she wanted to help Bulgaria transition from communism into a free society. And she said, yeah, but not by myself. He says, no, that's, you don't have to do it by yourself. What you'll end up doing is you put together an entourage, you go back to Bulgaria, you talk to the president, invite him to the ranch, and then we'll talk and help them see how they can transition at their level and throughout the whole country. So they did that. So that's the kind of people I got to hang out with. And just imagine if I had got stuck on the how. I wouldn't have met Lou Tice and Diane Tice. I wouldn't have seen their home. Wouldn't have met this lovely lady from Bulgaria. I wouldn't have heard about this story. I would have been thinking about the limited amount of money that I had to invest in marketing versus to invest it in myself and my future, and going to Seattle. So to me, this is a really important story because for me, it helped me understand that when we get out of our own way, decide what it is we want, why we want it, and stifle the how, almost anything is possible. A lot more is possible with that formula than getting stuck on how the hell am I going to do this first. If you want to expand your horizons and get to where you're trying to get to in your life, whether it's social, professional, personal, this strategy works. I've used it many, many times. If you'd like to know more about that, I'd love to have a virtual coffee with you and talk about how this formula could work for you.